That's how I know what's going on in wrestling today, is because of my mom. She watches it almost religiously. I recently changed cable providers.
Okay.
So we don't get USA anymore. So I would download it or rent it from a video store.
Rent
Because in Barbados you have bootleg video stores. So if you don't have cable, you can go to the store and buy a DVD or rent it. But nowadays it's usually buy. So you can buy any show you want. You can buy CSI, I don't know, American Idol, Raw. It's not legal, but it's accepted because Americans won't let you watch it any other way. Like the pay-per-views, that's how we would watch pay-per-views. You either go to a bar and watch it, or you rent it from one of these stores. You buy it from one of the stores. A really good store will have it the next day. Not so good stores 2 days later, and depends on how hot that show was. They can make it available the next day, but then when you go, all could have been gone. And it depends what other things they have to produce too. Like what other shows people want. It's not just a wrestling shop.
Richard Weeks returns to Wrestling Audio Revolution programming as WAR goes international in 2 weeks' time.
You want to scream, but you can't. It feels like your eardrums are going to burst.
We are renegades, this means war. We are renegades, this means war. We are renegades, this means war.
Absolutely, absolutely. Was that going to be part of the evolution? Was it something you came up with, or something that Paul came up with, or the bookers, or how did that work?
At the time, Paul didn't even know I could talk.
Absolutely up. Absolutely up. Absolutely
on the airwaves, here on the Spreaker Web Radio Network, Zeno Radio, and at our website, of course, WrestlingAudioRevolution.com via WAR Radio, which you can find in the live section. My name is the Grime Minister Luke Force. On the line, as he always is on War Weekly, the legend, Sean Michael Cunningham. What's going on, brother? How you feel this week?
Things are good. Things are good.
I think we've now done probably, what do you think, 500 shows? 1,000 shows? How many shows deep do you think we are with War Weekly?
You know what? I want to say the 500 number might be a little closer to realism over the last, to think about the last 8 years.
Let's say there's 500, okay? Hypothetically. Hypothetically, out of those 500, how many shows do you think we started with? Sean Cunningham, how you doing? And you said, good, things are good. Do you ever have a bad day? Are you really the DDP of Wrestle Talk Radio? You've never had a bad day in your life?
I really don't want to be the DDP of Wrestle Talk Radio. It's that if I'm having a bad day, I don't want to be a downer to the listeners. I don't want this to be a negative show. So even if I'm having a bad day, I try to put that aside for the time that I'm doing this show, because I always get excited to do this show.
So you're a fraud, is what you're saying.
You want to put it that way? Sure.
No, I would never put it that way, Sean. You're one of the most genuine people I've ever known in my life, and I'm honored to share this show with you. We got lots of stuff to talk about here, but mostly I think we're going to focus on the big pay-per-view coming up Sunday night, live on the WWE Network, and still pay-per-view, ladies and gentlemen. I know some of you may have forgotten that, but
you still pay $55 if you choose.
We'll go through the card. Focus mostly on WWE, I think, for this show, although we may talk a little bit about the Ring of Honor shows with New Japan coming up here in just a few weeks, and I think we can confirm now on the air, yourself, Sean Cunningham, myself, the Grime Minister Luke Force, together we are the War Originals at Ted Reeves Arena for War of the Worlds this year.
Yes.
Sean Cunningham, you're going to get your first taste of not only Ring of Honor live, but New Japan Pro Wrestling. Hold on to your hat.
So excited. First live show I've been to in a while, so I'm very excited for that too. And to go see New Japan and Ring of Honor together, oh my god, I'm pretty sure my mind is going to be blown during that show several times.
Well, somebody that we'll have to have on the show will have to be Ernest Matthews, who once again will be joining me at Ted Reeves Arena. And what do you think so far of the talent that's been announced?
I am so excited, it's not even funny. It's all the top New Japan talent is coming, including my 3 favorite people now, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks.
Oh, yes.
Are coming, so I'm very excited to see that, and it will be a super kick party at Ted Reeves Arena, I'm sure.
Best YouTube channel ever, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, it is. Everybody needs to go find it and see and watch it, because even if you're having the worst day, it makes you feel better.
And the videos are put together by Nick Massey on his phone. So Nick Massey being Nick Jackson. So Nick is the mastermind behind these very clever, sometimes horribly produced, but so bad it's good videos that they have. So check out The Elite on YouTube. I believe they're the only elite YouTube channel. So tons and tons and tons of fun. Many laughs to be had. Ishii will be making his debut in Toronto.
I'm also excited for that too. Because he's going to hurt somebody.
Yeah, newly crowned IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Tetsuya Naito will be in Toronto once again this year. Los Ingobernables. First time with this new gimmick in Toronto, so it really does feel like it's the first time.
How over is he going to be when they get here?
Everybody loves Naito these days.
Yes.
Everybody's jumped on the bandwagon, and he doesn't care, and he's not grateful. Let's put it that way.
He's not great. He's not Daniel Bryan, no.
You know what's going to be the hardest thing this year? Obviously Okada, Tanahashi, Jushin Liger once again will be here, the legend.
But it's a TV taping, so we don't really know what we're getting until we get there.
Have you heard officially it's a TV taping?
Yes,
that show?
They've been saying on the TV that it's that the Wednesday that we'll be there is a national taping. So my question is, how long are we going to be there?
That's the only problem, man. That's the only problem. And for anyone that has to catch, public transportation, I got to warn you. Yep. They cut it pretty close last year.
Might be an Uber night.
Yeah, that was a little bit tricky.
Running by then.
And I don't know exactly what the situation is, if Ernest Matthews is driving up, or if I'm driving up, or the GO train. If it's the GO train, we're going to have to be careful we catch that last, 12-13.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that.
So, yeah, last year, man, that show was long, but you would have never known it. It was just the best ever. So we're going to be going there. We'll be there once again. Really good seats. Very, very, very close.
Very exciting.
An intimate venue anyways, as it is. But the problem again this year, and you're going to notice this yourself, Sean. Last year when we got to the building, we just sort of got to our seats and we're kind of blown away again. We had pretty much the same seats we have this year.
Yes.
And we just sort of were checking out the view and all that. And then we realized that to our left, in street clothes, is all of the top talent of New Japan Pro Wrestling at a meeting, just standing there at a meet and greet and signing things. But it was so bizarre to walk in there, and each guy is like $20, I think, like $20 an autograph, right, and a picture.
Yeah.
And so everybody's waiting in line for Nakamura. He had like a constant stream of people. Right? Myself being one of them. That was the guy.
The picture that exists.
But then you see like Tanahashi, the greatest wrestler still to this day, in my opinion, in the entire business.
World, yes.
I still rank Tanahashi. And when you look at his resume over the last 10 years, it's just astonishing. The number of 5-star matches this guy has had. And the fact that he still performs at such a high level with all the injuries. And again, the draw that he's been in Japan, he's meant everything to New Japan and the whole reviving of that promotion. But he's sitting there like fucking Virgil at a table with nobody paying any attention to him. Like just sitting there looking awkward. Here's get me out of here.
Here's the thing, though. And you and I have talked about this at length. New Japan doesn't get the over-the-air TV exposure that it needs to bring those guys into certain markets like Toronto and other places that ROH runs. They might do better this year with the agreement with ROH, and they've been on ROH TV basically for the entire year. It feels like at times watching ROH is like really watching a New Japan show with an ROH logo on it.
And all of that would make sense, but when Tanahashi came up for his match, everybody went nuts for his entrance and cheered Tanahashi and said Tanahashi. It's not that they didn't know Tanahashi. It's the fact that when you charge $20 an autograph, you kind of have to pick and choose. And yes. that was what I was going to say. That's going to be the hardest thing for me again this year. Yeah. Because $20 an autograph or a picture, it's like, okay, who do I choose? I can't choose everybody.
You can't.
I wish I could.
It's $20. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like to have everyone is like $125 to get everyone's picture and autograph. But it's
if you really think about it, if you have the money, $125 is not that bad.
It's really not if you have the money.
If you have it.
Right?
I don't either, so I gotta make my pick too. In my head, if they're there, I've made my pick, but we'll see.
Well, the thing is too, for us, we're traveling too,
Yeah, you guys are traveling, so that's
getting a hotel maybe even, who knows?
Yeah.
Food, gas.
Yeah, you're doing the whole deal.
Tickets,
I'm paying for a ticket and I'm jumping on a public transit bus that I've already paid for.
But nothing has ever broken my heart more than seeing Tanahashi, Naito, and Liger all at one table with nobody there.
I could see how that's heartbreaking completely. As two people who've grown up wrestling fans and we'll find any amount of product that we can and try and consume it, despite our significant others' objections to the contrary.
Yeah, so that's on the table to my left is Liger.
Yeah.
Like a complete game changer to the professional wrestling business, one of the best of all time. But then you've got Naito, who is now the IWGP champion, fast forward 1 year. And I believe I called that on the air, didn't I?
You did.
I didn't. I'll be honest, I didn't know that was coming as soon as it did. So
I don't think anybody did, though. It's like everybody figured, maybe by Wrestle Kingdom next year.
Right.
I think that's what everybody went with.
And then you have Tanahashi all at one table. Nobody is there for long, extended, awkward periods of time. And then to the table to my right, fast forward 1 year, two gentlemen that are now on Raw.
Yes.
And not only on Raw, but making a serious impact.
Are they ever?
Involved in the top storyline in the company, which, by the way, I don't think I need to waste any time to say I'm fucking loving.
Yeah, how good is the top stories on Raw right now?
And they don't have anybody at their table either. And I'm talking, of course, about Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, now known as his older name, Luke Gallows.
Yeah.
Circa Straight Edge Society days.
Yes. At least they didn't go back to his original character in WWE.
Oh, we still have time, my friend.
Yeah, we could go there if we want to.
I hope he's been exercising his tongue. That's all I can say.
Yeah, for real.
'Cause he can get a tongue cramp. You're not used to doing that, and then you got to get thrown back into that gimmick. But no, right now things are looking great. And I said this on the show with Shan last week. I know you live a busy life and you don't necessarily listen to every show.
I did get to listen to that, though.
Okay, but you're like that main event wrestler, you know? You're like Bret Hart or someone like that. You're not necessarily watching every match on the card.
No, I'm not.
And if you're in Toronto and they're putting you on, you know, right after intermission so that you can get the fuck out of there, you're not necessarily going to be sticking around and watching the Killer Bees Heart Foundation tear it down in the main event.
No, you're not. That's true.
But Sean, I'm glad you listened and I appreciate it, and Shotgun Shan also appreciates it, and shots out to him. But we were talking about, and I was, really hammering it home that I was amazed how natural they've allowed these guys to come in and what that's done for AJ Styles in terms of bringing him out of his shell.
I think they're there for that purpose. It's like you're going to bring somebody that's a veteran of wrestling but had never been there, and you're going to let him come with his friends. When you need top talent, let's be honest, we all spent time bitching around wrestling how they don't have top talent. Guess what? Now they have top talent.
They have a top tag team, that's for sure.
They do.
And again, to hark back to last week, I really do think that they're going to be quite surprised at what they have in Carl Anderson, because I see him as somebody...
He is the star to be.
He is the star to be. He's the sleeper. He's the one that nobody's really thinking about. You're just kind of thinking of him in a supporting role.
Well, when we get to it, we'll run down the card for Payback, and what you'll notice is a lot of the talent that was at WrestleMania in top matches isn't on this show, and it looks like in the space of a month, it's an entirely different show.
I would agree with that. So yeah, we'll get to the card and we'll get some predictions going for the big show this weekend. I'm super excited about it. I can't lie. I don't remember the last time I looked at a card on paper from WWE main roster and thought, wow, like there's multiple matches that I'm really excited to see.
I'm looking at the card in front of me and I count 3, maybe 4 that could absolutely tear this show apart.
Before we get to that though, and we'll talk about Raw, we'll talk about maybe some other developments that came about this week.
Yes.
But I'd really like to know, you weren't on the show last week, and there's been a few deaths that we haven't been able to cover as well on this show, so I want to get your thoughts on those. We can start with Balls Mahoney, your memories of Balls Mahoney, Sean.
Loved the character, was a lot better worker than everybody, I think, gave him credit for, because the character was so prevalent. But really a talented guy that will be missed, that maybe never really got a true chance to see how good he was.
What are some of your Balls Mahoney matches that you remember really standing out?
Or
even opponents. It doesn't have to be specific matches.
Well, there was a time he was teaming with Masato Tanaka.
Yes.
As a tag team in ECW. And they would basically just hit you with a chair and it was insane. Or the time that he teamed with Spike Dudley against the Dudleys, and it was like flaming tables and all kinds of insanity. And they did the story of Spike had finally beaten his brothers and they'd finally won the titles and the whole bit. So Balls was always that weird kind of protector character and helping bring other guys along, I noticed. as a theme with him, whether it be Spike or Masato Tanaka or somebody else. At the end, like Chili Willy, I think, was one of the ECW characters. And then when he came to the WBE version, it was weird. They really kind of made him a cartoon, which I thought was a little bit sad because I thought he was more talented than that.
Also, we've had the death of Blackjack Mulligan, a guy that, I mean, geez, the term badass gets thrown around a little too loosely. Your memories, because you are the resident historian, what are some of your, I know that he was kind of before our time.
Well, he was a little before
his time, anyway.
There was one time, he came back to WWE in the late 80s, I want to say. And I remember as a young kid going to, and I think we've talked about this on the Christmas shows, I went to a Boxing Day after Christmas, Maple Leaf Garden show, and he was in the last match of that show. And so I did actually get to see him work live, which is kind of interesting. But
really? You saw Blackjack Mulligan live?
I did.
Gardens.
I did.
What year would that have been?
That would have been 86.
Okay.
Basically, he beat Nikolai Volkov in 45 seconds, which was, I thought that was a pretty neat way to close the show. That was the last match out. Hogan was in the main event, but that was, of course, in the middle of the show. They never put Hogan out last, but got to see him live, which, looking back on it now, was good.
Father of Barry Windham.
Father of Barry Windham and father-in-law to Mike Rotundo, so if we lay all the connections out, that would make him the grandfather of Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas.
The craziest Blackjack story, and there's a lot of them, because he was certainly a character. And I'm not going to sit here and say that he was some kind of saint. I think anyone that knows anything about Blackjack Mulligan would know that that's not true. There's certainly a lot of controversy, but one of the craziest stories ever you'll hear, and it was 2 separate occasions, and when Murdoch and Mulligan are drinking, bad things are going to happen. So it was not uncommon for Blackjack Mulligan to sucker punch people. It's one thing to sucker punch smaller guys and to be a bully and, you know, go after people that you know won't put up a fight. It's another thing to sucker punch Andre the Giant. He sucker punched Andre the Giant not only once on one occasion, but did it again. Times. I know there was at least 2 times. And one of those times was with Dick Murdoch and Blackjack Mulligan, and they tried to basically jump Andre. And they were on a beach. Like, it was like some party on a beach. And Andre the Giant took both of them, one under each arm by the head, and walked them out into the ocean and held both of their heads underwater to the point where people were afraid that he was going to kill them.
Yeah.
But that goes to show you the size of the balls of Blackjack Mulligan, especially in those days before all the health problems and when he was still an active wrestler on the road. But yeah, that's got to be one of the craziest Blackjack stories, is the one where he sucker punched Andre with Dick Murdoch, and then Andre took them both out into the ocean and held their heads underwater. The death of China, Sean.
Well, I think that's a sad, sad thing on a number of levels for after her WWE career. But as far as her connection to WWE and wrestling, and she did do something for women in wrestling, and that's how I will preface it. I will not say she did anything necessarily for women's wrestling per se, but she did something to change the role or to add another layer to the role of women in wrestling for her time, because she was physically able to do the things that she was, you know, big and strong enough to do. And it changed the way that people looked at women, and that to me is her biggest legacy. But it's so sad to see somebody so young with so many problems no longer be with us.
Right, and it does sound, anyway, as though her death was an accidental overdose. I don't know if that's been officially announced yet, has it?
Not yet, but that's where everything's leaning.
It was like an anxiety medication and a sleep medication.
Yeah.
So, anyways, rest in peace, China, and me and Shotgun Shan. If anyone wants to hear what we said and listen to the vintage update from last week, myself and Shotgun Shan. But Sean, some of your favorite memories of China. What would be the impressions that were made on you? Are they a lot of the same ones as everyone else, or do you have a few unique ones?
I don't know if they're the same ones, but they're similar ones. I remember the shock when she press slammed Flash Funk. Like, I remember having to pick my jaw up off the floor because I had never seen that before. Like, probably the first time we saw her, when she picked up, like, where she was in the audience and she picked up Marlena and just squeezed her and literally ragdolled her around. Like, I just remember seeing that and just being shocked. Like, just the visual of that. And then, of course, later on when they very much softened the character, and the stuff with Eddie, like you guys talked about, was awesome. When they made her a much more feminine, almost, I don't want to say sex symbol's not the right word, but like very much softened the character and showed that she had a range and could do more things. And it was just something, like I said, her legacy will be felt in wrestling. I don't know what she actually did for women's wrestling, other than there's a generation of girls that are wrestling now that were affected by her, but I don't know if you look at her title run as the women's champion as like, this is what changed women wrestling. I think more of her legacy is what she was able to do for women moving forward in interacting with the men. All
right, well, Monday night, some of the bullet points from this show, some of the things that stood out to you about this week's show, and I don't know about you, but I've really been enjoying pretty much everything post-WrestleMania.
I completely agree with you. Post-WrestleMania has been awesome because I think what they've been forced to do, and we talked about this before WrestleMania, they've gotten rid of a lot of their part-time talent. They're not there now, right now. And they're using younger, current guys and bringing in new talent because they've basically got themselves pinned against a wall booking-wise. But it's brought out some really good product. I like the stuff with AJ. I think the AJ stuff's really, really good. And I like the teasing of the Bullet Club reuniting, but then AJ always trying to be the goody-goody, and eventually I think you have to do a heel turn at some point. Sooner than later, but I'm not sure when.
Doesn't it seem a little bit like, I mean, I agree with you, but doesn't it seem a little bit like they're telegraphing that a little too much?
They're telegraphing it, but at some point, I don't want to see them keep him babyface and swerve us just for the sake of swerving us. Like, there was a line on commentary this week, and I hate to agree with JBL, but I have to. It's sometimes 2 + 2 does equal 4. And in the wrestling world, that doesn't work out as much as you want it to. They'll drag it out just for the sake of dragging it out. You either do something where you don't have AJ completely turn until Finn shows up, and maybe they turn on AJ, or you get to a point where you're doing a 6-man match with AJ and Gallows and Anderson versus Roman and the Usos, or a reunited Shield, and then they bring in a fourth Bulletproof or Bullet Club or whatever they're going to call them. I noticed the announcers tap danced around that more heavily this week than ever. The mentioning of Bullet Club. Because the fans kind of chanted it, and then Michael Cole said, these 3 men were in a club together, but never mentioned Bullet Club.
In a club.
In a club. It didn't say Bullet in front of it, so...
The Breakfast Club?
Yeah, maybe. You never know. They could have been in a treehouse club. I don't know. They could have been in a golf club together.
Gallows and Anderson were probably in the hair club.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the hair club.
I like it. Let's call it the hair club.
The hair club. Well, AJ's the only one that had any hair.
Cesaro can join.
That's right.
Right.
How much we love Cesaro right now. Oh my God.
You're liking the James Bond gimmick?
I totally am digging. The James Bond gimmick isn't even necessary, and it still makes it better. But to go back to what you're going to do with AJ, I don't think you're putting the title on this Sunday.
I'll be honest, I don't know. I have no idea, and I like that. I love this storyline. I love the way it's played out on TV. And if I know WWE the way I know WWE, AJ's not turning heel and joining the Bullet Club on Sunday. Because they've just been telegraphing it too much. And I really do think, unfortunately, because you guys know how much I love seeing those 3 guys together and how comfortable it makes AJ. It totally brings him out of his shell. And I think you've seen that the last 2 weeks. I just really do feel in my gut that it's going to be them against AJ, unfortunately, right now.
AJ and who, though?
Not necessarily and anybody. Maybe, I guess, and Roman. Maybe that'll be the main event of the next pay-per-view.
Well, they only have 3 weeks between shows, so that might make sense.
I think so. I think that's what you're going to see.
That might make sense.
That's not what I want to see. It's just what I think is going to happen. And judging by the way the TV's going, it just seems like they're being a little bit too obvious about the fact that they're going to help AJ win the title, which usually tells me they're not.
They're going to screw him out of the title.
Right. Now, are they going to become the Roman Empire? Don't know. I don't think so. No. I don't think so.
No. I still think down the road you're eventually going to get the Shield against Bullet Club
and see,
whatever it is.
That's what upsets me about the whole thing, is they're going to find their way back there anyway.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to find their way back there, and they're going to have to do it after these guys have jumped them and turned on them and made it personal, and then it's going to be like, well, let's get together, I forgive you. I don't know. I don't like that. Why do that? You know, if you feel like there's money to be made in that feud, which I think there's a ton of flipping money to be made
So
in that
much
feud.
money in that feud.
Right, just from a merchandising standpoint too. You know, you could have really heated crowds, divided crowds, and you know, both teams will be, or both factions, whatever you want to call them, will be selling lots of shirts because of it.
Shirts.
I think it's great. I think it's a great angle for the summer.
Yeah.
But I just don't see that happening. I feel like they're going to turn on AJ and cost him the title.
Which sucks.
Right. Which also makes Roman not necessarily the nicest guy, but maybe after the fact he's going to get pissed off that they did that. Maybe they'll be, I don't know. Who knows what'll happen?
They gotta find some way to get the crowd to cheer Roman, and they can't do it. So I don't know.
I feel like they've kind of given up on that. How did you like the actual in-ring debut this week of Gallows and Anderson? I thought
they were so good.
I thought they came off really strong.
And the way they told the story and what they did and all the acknowledgement of New Japan, which I still am slightly confused about, but that's a different thing. How much JBL puts over New Japan?
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that strange too?
Certainly do.
Okay, so I'm not alone in this.
No, I certainly do.
But they look like badasses. They look like they can hurt you, and that's what you want.
There's something completely different about them from anything in WWE right now.
Yes.
It's a void that is just, it's not been filled in a long time. And many years of just the big, bad, white, bald tag team. Badass tag team. I mean, they're really like the Brody and Hanson of WWE right now.
Oh, that's such a sick comparison, but so true.
Right. Completely different. Nothing like them. But I thought that their offense, like, again, it's not like they're this flashy team. It's not like they have all these great tag team double teams and all this stuff. They're not Jordan and Gable, but they just have a style, again, that's so, I hate to say it because it's cliche, but smash mouth.
Yeah, it is. Totally that. And the only thing that is remotely comparable, and they're building it down in NXT, is the Revival, Nash and Dawson. There's definitely comparisons between the two, and I wonder what would happen if the two clashed, if one of them would somehow become largely devalued. So I hope that doesn't happen.
Well, the difference there is that Anderson and Gallows have so much personality.
Yeah.
And you've really been able to see it even just since coming back to WWE. I mean, it's like they've let them be themselves for the most part. You know, a directed version of themselves. But bringing their real life friendship and code words and all this stuff into the promos. And I just can't even believe a guy like Carl Anderson, never been on Raw in his entire career, and all of a sudden shows up and just looks so comfortable, like he belongs there, you know?
And it's so awesome. And I feel so good for a guy like that that's spent his time in Japan and worked at his craft and done all that. And then to be here now is pretty sweet.
So big time tag team reign for them, I think. Put those belts on them soon. Who even has the belts right now?
New Day still has
Okay. See, that's good shit, too. This is the thing, is that if you do put AJ with them, and you just go with the obvious choice, which I'm all for, I think that's good, except for the fact that AJ's so over as a baby.
And I'm sure they're cringing at that idea right now, and that's where the debate is. If you were sitting in the room right now, it would be like, we brought all these guys in to be heels, but AJ's so over. And it's not AJ against Roman over. No, AJ is over.
He's over anyway, but then when you put him against Roman,
it's 10 times more.
And if the Bullet Club all jumped in the ring and beat on Roman Reigns at the end of the match, yeah, the crowd would be going bananas in Chicago.
The only way you switch that crowd is if Ambrose and Rollins come in to save Roman. That's the only way.
I fucking love that idea, man, but I don't know.
I don't think Rollins is clear yet.
Now, where do you plug John Cena in right now?
I don't have a bloody clue. I swear to you, I for the first time in I have no idea where to automatically put him.
I would say back with Del Rio, because that's sort of the program that
they have to at least
started.
Do one more match.
But Del Rio is just so off the radar right now with the League of Nations, and I am happy that they're seemingly falling apart at the seams. I'm very happy about that.
Fine, yeah. Nobody's going to complain about that.
I love when they have to acknowledge that one of their ideas was a complete flop. I just love that.
Yes, because this was a horrible that never worked. I understood the idea at the time. I understood what you were trying to do. It just never took.
No, and now Barrett is gone.
Yep. And
G1 Climax is coming up just around the corner. I don't know.
You don't think, do you?
To be continued. To be continued. Can you imagine how awesome he would be in New Japan, though?
Yes. I can.
That guy would catch on like crazy because he already works a style that's a little bit too hard hitting for WWE.
Yep.
The guy's got charisma. He was really never given a chance. He was everything they really wanted, except he wasn't this big jacked up specimen.
No, because I noticed that every time he got hurt, he'd come back smaller.
I mean, I assume, and going back to Cena, I mean, I assume that he'll be getting, a title shot at some point, but that's one of those ones you don't want to give away too soon, him and Roman. You know? That's the big program.
SummerSlam or Survivor Series or something.
Even though when I picture those two guys wrestling in my mind, it's like I can pretty much picture what it looks like, and it's not anything that necessarily appeals to me.
But then I look at some of the other stuff coming for this Sunday, and I'm like, please don't ruin it. We have the women's title match. I'll start there because it's at the top of my page. Actually, wait, I'll do this the proper way. The kickoff match for the pre-show is Kalisto and Ryback again for the U.S. title.
Poor guys.
It's not really, I don't think you're going to put it on Ryback all of a sudden for no reason.
What does it matter, really?
It really doesn't.
Who do you think will win that match?
Probably Kalisto still.
You think Kalisto keeps the belt and they just keep this going, that he's got the kryptonite?
Yeah, I think so. Because I think they probably have more of a plan, if anything, for Kalisto than they do for Ryback.
It seems that way, but you never do know.
No, I know.
When Ryback could come back like the Walking Dead here.
Oh, jeez.
They should make him they should revamp the zombie.
There you go.
ECW Sci-Fi.
Well, and get a licensing deal with Walking Dead and find some way to connect that.
I think Ryback can play a hell of a zombie.
I think it would work. Hasn't he been doing that for like 5 years anyway? I just want to point that out.
Well, you got to be a zombie to read The Secret, don't you?
Yeah, or something. I don't know what that book is. Then we have the tag team title tournament.
I will also pick Kalisto, by the way.
You can pick Kalisto. The tag team title tournament sponsored by Bootios. You have to say that every time. Enzo and Cass versus the Vaudevillains for number one contendership. What do you think?
I'd be very surprised if Enzo and Cass didn't win, but I don't know. What do you think? How are you liking the Vaudevillains on the main roster? To me, it's been a little bit of a disconnect to me. I don't know.
I thought it was flat up until this week, and they let Aiden English talk, and it made it better. The only thing that really ruined it for me was the New Day kind of hyped it up, and then at the end, they're like, oh, it doesn't matter who wins because we're still going to be champions anyway. It's like you just deflated the entire thing in 3 seconds.
Well, they got to be braggadocious.
Well, no, but I'm like, but don't do it with the other two teams standing there ready to kill each other, not even really paying attention to you, the fact that you're standing in the middle.
So are you taking Enzo and Cass as well, or what?
No, you know what, originally I was going to take Enzo and Cass, and now I'm leaning, the more and more I lean toward the Vaudevillains. Because the only way the Enzo and Cass match works, you're either going to turn Enzo and Cass heel, which I don't think he wanted to do. I don't think they have any plan to do that. Or you can go have the safe match with the Vaudevillains and have them work a better heel program with New Day.
From that standpoint, you know what? You've brought me over to your side. I think you're right. It's going to be the Vaudevillains, and that's going to be, I'll admit, that's going to be a really entertaining match.
The wrestling will be good.
Yeah, and the entertainment will be good.
Yes.
Okay, so we got Kalisto beating Ryback. Both of us are agreeing Kalisto will retain.
Yes.
We've got the Vaudevillains. Both of us agreeing that they will go over and face the New Day. Okay. What do we got next?
We got Dolph and Baron Corbin, otherwise known as my bathroom break match.
All right, Baron Corbin's going to win. Next.
No, I think, you know what, they might give Dolph like a surprise win, and then Monday he gets the crap kicked out of by Baron anyway. But I think Dolph might get one of these wins back.
Baron Corbin on the main roster. Your review.
Not so good. It just exposes him as how not ready he was in the ring.
Okay, what do we got next?
Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho possibly could steal the show if it's a good enough match.
I completely forgot about that match.
I don't imagine that this is like winner gets their talk show. No? They're not doing that step?
I don't know.
Winner gets the talk show? I haven't heard anything to that effect.
What's the better talk show? I think they've both been pretty awful.
The only reason I'm going to say Ambrose is because to me it's something different. Jericho had gotten stale.
That's true.
Just to have Dean cut out there trying to make it sound like a talk show and then yell like a lunatic in the same segment is pretty funny.
They need to get him a real set, like the Piper's Pit set.
Yes.
But have it be like, make it look like it's a back alleyway. And have there be like sirens and stuff go off from time to time and people running in the background like they're, running away with a bag of money.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Stuff like that.
That sounds like, see, now you're working in their creative
The Ambrose
department.
Asylum, yeah, and just have it be like even shot like, real dark and dingy.
Or
That'd be awesome.
Or you can have it look like a padded cell.
That's good too. I like that too.
That works too.
That's more probably up Vince's alley, so. Lord knows he needs to be in one of those and has needed to be for quite some time.
70-year-old crazy man.
Who you got winning this one, Sean?
I see. Originally, I was going to say Ambrose, and I was going to say yes because I thought Jericho was, going off to do summer music tour. But I don't know that, and I have a feeling this feud might be going on for a while. So my heart says Ambrose, but my head probably says Jericho.
You go with Jericho. I'm going to go with Ambrose for this one. I think he needs a big win. I don't think we need another clean win for Jericho.
No, probably not. You're probably right, but I have a feeling that they like to do odd things. I think Ambrose has looked so strong over Jericho for most of this program that I almost think they want to give Jericho the pay-per-view win,
Well, hey, if they keep the program going, then I'm all good with that. I think these guys will have a very good match together. So you're going with Jericho, I'm going with Ambrose. Next up on the card, Sean.
Intercontinental title match, The Miz versus Cesaro.
I know what we want to happen.
Yeah. I know what we both want. It's do we believe it's actually going to?
I don't know. Do we? You tell me.
As much as I want it to happen now, I think the better deal is if they can find a way for Miz to win and for that program to keep going. As long as they don't kill the program, I'd be okay with Miz winning.
You're enjoying The Miz right now.
No, I'm just enjoying Cesaro beating the crap out of The Miz every week, and I'd like that to continue. I also enjoy looking at Maurice like any normal red-blooded male. So any chance we get to see more of Maurice, that's good too.
So you're going with Miz then to win this one?
I'm going to go with Miz by dirty, underhanded cheating tactics.
Okay. I'm going to actually choose Cesaro. I just don't think they have any long-term vision for that belt, and I think it's going to be hot potato. And Cesaro's kind of hot right now, and I would be very happy to see him have a nice run with that title for a while. I think
agree.
If you're looking for someone to carry it for a while, Cesaro's the perfect choice for that. He's extremely popular. He has great matches. He can make it the work rate title. Let's do it. Let's put it on Cesaro. But I'm going to go with him for this one. So next,
I like I said, I want to agree with you. I really do, but I just can't right now. The match that we've been pining for months, and WWE put together an awesome video package for, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens.
This is the match I think everyone's looking forward to.
Yeah.
The video package was awesome. It really encapsulated their entire career running parallel with each other. Their very first match had against each other. Their very first WrestleMania moment in a match with each other.
All the NXT stuff was included.
All the Ring of Honor. So yeah, they didn't show any of the Ring of Honor, but that's always hinted at, their long history together. So these guys always work well together, and to now see them on a WWE pay-per-view doing this, or a special event, it's pretty damn exciting for me, and I think that they're going to tear the house down. So who do you have winning this match?
I see Sami winning, but then Kevin jumping him, and we'll go on for a little while longer, I think.
You see Sami Zayn pulling out a victory for this one?
Sami pulls out a victory and then gets jumped.
I like it. I think that's really good. I think you need to keep this one going. I don't know. I mean, I see what you're saying. I think that would be a pretty good way to go about it. Pretty traditional.
Because
in match one, on the main roster, to have it sort of be something where you can come back and do it again next month.
Because I don't think giving Kevin Owens the win kind of ends it. Like if you do a heel clean win with the Papa Powerbomb or something, that kind of kills the whole rivalry, doesn't it? Like he beat him.
Yeah, and it all depends on where we're going from here. If they want to keep it going, which they should, if they have any clue about any of this.
Somebody seems to have a clue. I don't know who, but somebody back there does.
For this pay-per-view, they certainly do.
Yeah, for real.
And again, like I said, I'm really looking forward to the main event. Are we at the main event now, or is there anything else?
One more match before that.
What do we have?
Women's title match: Charlotte with Ric Flair in the corner versus Natalya with Bret Hart.
Now, Ric Flair has really been a topic of conversation over the last 24 hours, 48 hours, something like that. Everything that we know, he had some kind of an incident at an airport
in Boston.
Originally, it said he was too hammered to board the plane, and he had to be, I guess, detained by security. Later, it was actually told that he had some kind of an injury to his hand. His hand was bleeding, and the security there was more just there trying to wrap up his hand or something like that. So we still don't know a whole lot about what happened at the airport. We just know that something happened, and a picture was snapped of it and went viral.
But I don't think it's enough to get him off the show. Or anything. It doesn't sound like he's going to.
Well, I would say I would agree with you if it were not for something that had happened a few hours prior at the SmackDown tapings. I don't know how much of this was edited off. I would assume this part was edited off. But in a promo with Natalya, I guess things got really heated in the promo. And Ric Flair told Natalya to kill herself. Ric Flair has already had a lot of problems in WWE in terms of going off script with his promos, doing things that were unacceptable, and especially for this, PG environment. And it looks like this may have happened again. We all know about what happened, the incident that caused Jim Ross to lose his job.
WrestleMania accident, or the video game reveal thing a few years ago.
We may have another problem with Ric Flair. I know his podcast, because of this incident, has been put on hiatus with Podcast One.
Yes.
So it looks like there may be some more rough times coming for the Nature Boy. WWE has said that they are investigating the airport incident, but they were already not happy with him in the least when he left that taping on Tuesday night.
But I would think because they've promoted it and they haven't changed it, I would think he might still be there on Sunday night.
We'll have to wait and see. We're not too long away from it now, man.
But Brett is scheduled.
If they're both there, I would assume that there's a spot where Brett gives Rick, he does something to stop Rick interfering. Maybe gives Rick a punch. Rick takes a bump. I don't see a lot of physicality, but I see a simple punch bump type of scenario on the outside with Rick and Bret Hart. And I actually am really excited about that. We know that the history with those two guys. Not each other's favorite people at certain times of their life. I don't know where they stand right now. It seems as though things are okay. Bret Hart was on his podcast, and again, they're working this angle together. The interesting thing, it's not only about Ric Flair and whether he will be there, but just the fact that Bret Hart in the press pretty much just slams WWE whenever he gets an opportunity. And I'll be honest, I completely agree with pretty much everything Bret says these days.
I'm just shocked that based on everything that he has said, that they decided to book him in a program.
Did we give a prediction for the women's match?
I think Charlotte retains somehow.
Should be a hell of a match, I'll say that much.
Yes.
But I would agree with you that Charlotte is going to retain the title. If she didn't and Natalya were to capture the belt, I'd be extremely happy for Natalya. Natalya is awesome, and these two always have great matches. So again, this is going to be another one of those show-stealing moments of Payback, in my opinion.
And if Natalya does win, it's somebody who's paid her dues in WWE for years and deserves a short run with the title. That being said, I don't think that's their plan.
I would agree. So we're both choosing Charlotte to retain, and in the main event, AJ Styles, Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight title. It's pretty much been all but guaranteed that Gallows and Anderson will be there. What they've been really hinting at is that they're going to help AJ win the title. Who do you have winning this match, Sean?
I've changed my mind on this about 6 or 7 times. At this point, I'm going to go with Roman winning because Gallows and Anderson either interfere and attack Roman and get AJ disqualified, or they attack AJ.
Those are the two options, you think?
Yep.
Two most likely scenarios is that, imagine they did a DQ with them jumping Roman. How do you think that would go over to end the show?
Probably horrible. But it would make sense for the story if you're going to keep going.
It really would. This is one of those situations where it actually would make a lot of sense.
I go back to 3 weeks between events.
But then again, we're still saying, without saying, that AJ and Gallows and Anderson are not going to be aligned. So I said this earlier in the show. If they do it and they just go with the obvious choice, I think that's great for business. But I don't see them doing that, and I do feel as though Roman and AJ will be on the same side. I got to say I'm super happy for AJ that he's in this position. I think he's going to absolutely knock it out of the park. I think it's going to be Roman Reigns' best match, or very close to the top of that list. And whether or not he wins it coming up on Sunday here, I do believe that AJ Styles will be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion at some time.
I agree. I wouldn't be surprised if that is before the end of 2016.
So there you go, Sean Cunningham on the record. And You know what? I back you up on that. I do feel as though it's going to happen. And that is something. I'm still just getting used to seeing the guy on Raw.
Yeah.
And to think that he's in the position he's in this weekend, it's super inspiring. And even though I'm not all for them being at odds, the Bullet Club and AJ, I do think it will make for some good television and some good matches. So
we have one other thing that is being promoted for Payback that's not a match, necessarily.
What would that be?
It would be which McMahon sibling will control Raw as decided by Vince. I am nervous that they're just going to go back to what they know.
I do think it's going to be Shane. If we're going to make a prediction for that segment,
yes.
I think it's going to be Shane, because I think that they're going to go out there and Stephanie and Hunter are going to kind of assume that it's going to be Vince is going to go with them. And then he's going to be like, you know what, Shane?
You're a son of a bitch. But you know what? You got a good mind for the business.
The ratings are down. Now you're doing Black Scorpion again.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, Sean, let's get the fuck out of here.
Let's.
And how do we follow you if we want to keep up with you during the pay-per-view, sir?
War Commissioner on Twitter and all over social media on Sunday and during the weekend prior. If anything breaks, I will try and get that up as much as we can. But I will be live Sunday evening on Twitter at War Commissioner, doing live updates through WWE Payback.
So check them out Sunday night. Follow along. Sean Cunningham will be live tweeting once again, as he always does, for WWE Payback. From myself, the Grime Minister, and from the Commissioner Sean Cunningham, we want to say peace, love, enjoy Payback, and Sean Cunningham, as always, you got to tell him the rest.
Wrestling, revolution.
I just want to say thanks. We had a blast night. Thank you for everything was that going to be part of the evolution? Was it something you came up with, or something that Paul came up with, or the bookers, or how did that work?
At the time, Paul didn't even know I could talk.
That I know it's something that you've talked about a billion times before, but I have to ask it.
The Commissioner Sean Cunningham's like,